wishing every day, why can't it just be me? We will step you in the cold, the rain, the fire, and the smoke. If only I could get you out, I'd pick you up, never put you down. I'd hold you up close, like a star beside the moon. We could take on the world. Wish I could give you a home, filled with all the ones you love. A place where you never feel alone. Somewhere you can be yourself. We can dance and swing and run if I could. All right. How are you guys doing? I hope you're doing good. I am pre-recording this because I have my little one, my BB, and he can be a little bit of a nut job sometimes. So excuse me. So I'll see if I can get through this without him being too much of a nutcase. Let me share my screen here so you guys can read along if you'd like. Let me get my banner going because it's for summer. Let's see, where is it at? 1-800 TBI FIND. Find Summer Wells. She is still missing. Summer Moon Utah Wells, 6 of Hawkins County, Tennessee, is still missing. She's about to turn 7 February 4th. So if you see this video in a couple days, she'll be 7. Since June 15th, 2021, she's been missing, and anyone with information regarding her whereabouts is urged to call 1-800 TBI FIND immediately. Okay. So this is a video. There's a video on Sage Sleuth's YouTube channel titled JodiSue December 31st, 2021 from a Facebook Live Jodi had done. Jodi is talking about how Candace and Grandma were repotting cactus plants and it took 30, 40, 50 minutes plus because they do it right, she says. Excuse me. Huh? What the fuck you just say? She says. She's half asleep and falling asleep throughout the video. She appears heavily medicated. Jodi continues. Washed hands in the damn camper, which I thought Grandma Candy's camper had no running water. I know I've heard that before, so I don't think they washed their hands inside. But anyways, then Candy, she says, walk Summer to, which I get it, trying to look better than. I get it, which I've heard Jodi say it in those exact same words before. That ain't right, though, she says. You go back, knee brace, 2 to 5 minutes, she says. Then all hell breaks loose, right? So what you're looking at, even though they initially had theirs at 5:30, they kept walking it back and forth, she says. Okay, even still, this timeline doesn't make sense, Jodi. There's different times out there now, for sure. Jodi says they kept walking it back and forth for other pieces that were named, other pieces they found out about, and whatever else. What other pieces is she talking about? Like the doing of laundry and such? And what are they walking back and forth about 5:30? Jodi goes on, but they're looking at 3:09 to at least 6:09. Actually, you're looking at about 3:20 max to about 6:09. Looking at what, Jodi? Your timeline, your version of events? 6:09 is when I heard the first calls for Summer, Jodi says. Summer was not answering, obviously. I reach the bottom, go to the left, and walk on down, says Jodi. Everybody meets back up at the top. She says she hears Candace hollering, "What did you do? What did you do?" Jodi says, I'm like, fuck, well, she can't hear me, so I'm just going to go ahead and look down to the right. See, I'm pretty sure before, Jodi didn't say they met back up at the top first. That doesn't even make sense, because if they all met back up at the top, then she says that Candace can't even hear her. She hasn't even talked to Candace yet at this point, supposedly. But now she's saying they all met back up at the top. And then she hears Candace hollering, "What did you do? What did you do?" It's not the same as she said it before. Jodi says, I'm like, fuck, well, she can't hear me, so I'm just going to go ahead and look down to the right, look down in the tunnel. I could have swore Jodi said that went differently with the boys and Candace saying, what did you do? What did you do? I thought she said that happened later. Anyways, she says, stand up, go to the left, start down there, past the little drug area. Before I had even got to that area, I never specifically heard her tell the boys, go look. I heard the boys go to the left and down the hill towards the creek. She says she knows what they were doing. They immediately, as soon as they were finished being yelled at, what did you do? What did you do? They weren't being told to go look. So I kept going to the right, stepping in where the drug area is. There, I get in the creek, and I hear her driving up her driveway, and I hear someone loud as fuck on the phone. No hang-ups or nothing like that. Then, by the time she meets me, I'm like, all that transpires. She puts it on speakerphone, and I realize immediately, there it is. She says she realized that it was Dawn. Then I start back into the spot, and she goes on. She runs into the other neighbor. I hear that conversation happening. He's already out. He's like, who's talking? Who's taking what and where? I step on down to the water as he goes on, she says. Before she said they walked together as he took the bank. Candace carries on and does stuff we know about, but she does say in there that she sends the boys to the creek. She freaks out immediately and calls Don, Jodi says. Don told her to call the police, but yet she was coming down the driveway, and she was still on the phone with Don. So, Jodi, maybe they hung up and called each other back. And as she drives by, she meets the other neighbors. And I thought there was only one neighbor out. But at one point, she throws the one cell phone back in the back of Don's truck and gets the other one, right? From that point, we're still in the creek. She freaks out, calls Don. She goes to Grandma's and gets the other phone. I've heard that many times, Jodi says. My problems are not like the rest of the internet's problems because I was there. The time the boys were at the left side of the bank, what it takes me to walk just those few steps to do what I was doing, why wouldn't you then pick up the other one then and call? You've got a good enough signal, Jodi says. There's something fucked there, Jodi says. If his truck's there, it's so funny, and says some inaudible stuff about a truck sitting on the side and still being in the front and needing to move it before something. The placement of the vehicles that day. Jodi is nearly asleep at this point. Hold on. I'm back. Okay. Jodi is nearly asleep at this point after she's talking about the placement of the vehicles that day. But in my head, Jodi says, I'm like, but I heard the boys on the left side. Those boys should have went. From that time till I get, there's just not, and there's time in there for her to freak out, and for me not to hear that too out there. Then getting the other phone, then coming down the driveway after getting signal again to call. There's no way. I don't know how to make that make sense, quite frankly, Jodi says. I agree. Jodi goes on. But then the statement is, she comes down the driveway. Well, since she ran the something, she finally calls the cops. There's no way from the time the boys are on that hill and I make a few steps over here that there's a call. There's no fucking way. Then to get back on the phone and come down the driveway with him on the whole time. It started, I stopped, and it came back to the bottom loud as hell. Then he's quiet. She sees me, and I don't know. It's just quiet. But then the stagnant goes, and Don pops up and goes, Are you telling me someone took my daughter? But Jodi, I thought Candace said that she saw you outside at like 4:30. Then the statement goes out to the public that she drives around but sees no one. Well, I was someone, the other neighbor was someone, the other neighbor's being someone. Wait, again, Jodi, I thought the other Don was the only other neighbor. Jodi says, but I guess that day none of us existed. Then we have the cops saying the first calls didn't come in till 6:30, which I'll never get because I know from my own timeline it's 6:09 till the time that Andy and Don got there because I know how long it takes Andy to get home. The first two cops roll in as I'm in a spot back here and she's sitting there. There's no way cops would have got there in 2 minutes. There's something real fucked with that last part, superbly fucked. Because if the actual calls to cops didn't come in till 6:30, then how in the hell did they all collide at the same time at 6:30? That would have to put the cops there somehow instantaneously. What, you got a fucking time machine? It's not fucking possible. There's something really fucked up there. Either way, says Jodi. After hearing this, I wonder if Jodi was even there or if she was out there the whole time, and that's why there's such a time discrepancy. It would make more sense if she said Don and Andy rolled in around 7, because if 911 was called at 6:30 and Don claims to have got home in a half hour, then that would put him home at 7. And if he got there at the same time as the cops, that would be more like 7, not 6:30. Maybe she doesn't really know and she's just trying to sound important. I'm not sure what it is about JodiSue, but she is inserting herself in Summer's case and she seems to be protecting someone that she loves. Don and Candace avoid talking about her even when directly asked. Someone close to her that she would do anything for, like a child maybe. That's just my speculation because that's what it seems like to me because of the fact that she is so passionately dedicated to being live on YouTube and pushing a narrative. She gives specific spots and times and is so detailed about her very steps on the hill that day Summer went missing. Yet she can't give specifics on how she is being targeted and harassed, only vague, unfounded claims. She says people are using her abuser against her and targeting her and her children, yet she remains online every day in the middle of it all and has no proof of any of her allegations. I want to know what Jodi was doing around 4:30 p.m. and why she places the scream at that time. I want to know why it seems like she was already in the creek before she knew Summer was missing. I want to know what Jodi was doing up till 6:09, like the whole day up till then. She never talks about it, hardly at all. Not the 4 o'clock hour, not the whole day leading up to hearing the first calls for Summer. She talks about being in the cabin and hearing the scream. What if she wasn't in the cabin? What if the scream happened earlier? What if the scream isn't even real? Why does it seem so suspicious? There should be nothing suspicious about Summer's own neighbor, but here we are. Summer Moon Utah Wells went missing from outside her home in the 100 block of Ben Hill Road in the Beech Creek community of Hawkins County, Tennessee. She was reported missing June 15, 2021, around 6:30 p.m. by her parents. She was reported as 3 feet tall and 40 pounds, blonde hair, which was shaved at the time of her disappearance, and blue eyes. Anyone with information regarding Summer's whereabouts is urged to call 1-800-TBI FIND. We love you, Summer. We're never going to give up on you. We're going to keep searching for answers every single day. It's an addiction, and I can't give it up.
Welcome, this is a farmhouse. We have cluster flies west. And this time of year, it's wet. We are so very sorry. There is little we can do. Swat them. Just didn't beg, oh not enough. Didn't stay when things got tough. Told a lie, she got mad. Wasn't there when things got bad. I never ever saw the northern lights. Never really heard of cluster flies. Never ever saw the stars so bright.
Summer Moon Utah Wells, the world adores you.
Alright. Woke this morning to the stinging lash. Every man rise from the ash. Each betrayal begins with trust. Every man returns to dust. I never ever saw the northern lights. Never really heard of cluster flies. Never ever saw the stars so bright. And then the promises would be alright. Realize that I'm someone
All right, y'all. So I got the Beebs. So I'm going to go before he starts freaking out. I wanted to get this little narrative out here of JodiSue's on my page so that throughout time, the more I post, the more we can see what her contradictions are. And I'm curious to see what you all think. So let me know in the comments. All right. Peace out. We love you, Summer. Bye.